Hi everyone, I'm Jonathan. I'm one of the Donkey Car project maintainer. I know some of you want to push a PR to the repository, but maybe you're not familiar with how the workflow should be. So today I record this video so you can see how to submit a PR and get it approved smoothly. So this is the steps that you have to do in order to submit a PR. First, you fork a project from the official repository, and then you create a new branch, you commit locally, and then push the changes to your repository. And then you can create a PR on GitHub site. After we have received your PR, we'll respond to the PR, or maybe we will ask you to change something. Then you will probably commit some changes again. And lastly, and this is probably the most confused part, is that we will ask you to squash your commit into one single commit so that we can approve it smoothly. So here is how we are going to, I'm going to show you how we can do this. So first, you need to fork the project by going to the Donkey Car official repository, which is auto-rope/donkeycar. On the upper right corner, there is a button called fork. You just press this button, and then GitHub will ask you where you want to fork it. Maybe you have multiple username, and then it will ask you which account you want to fork the project. So because I have already forked the project, so it doesn't allow me to do it again. And after you have done it, you can go to your own username, and then you will find the projects there. Okay, so if you have done this, you have already forked the project successfully. So after that, you need to clone it to your local PC. In order to clone it, let's copy the address here by going to this green button and then click this copy button. So we go to the terminal, and then I'm using the temp directory here. I just type, let me do it again. So let me just type git clone and then paste the URL I just copy from the browser. So it began cloning the project into my PC. So after cloning it, we still need to do two things. One is set up the upstream, by running this command so that we not only point to our own repository, but we also set up an upstream pointing to the official repository. And the second thing is that we want to sync with the upstream. I will show you how. This is optional if you're new, because most likely your project is synced with the upstream. But sometimes your repository may be out of date. So okay, it has been done. So next step would be checking which Wemo repository we are pointing to by running this git wemo -v. Okay, we need to cd into that directory first. And then, as you can see, right now this repository, this local copy, points only to my own GitHub repository. But we also want to set up an upstream pointing to the official repository. And by running this command, and then check it again, we can see that we are now pointing to our own repository. The name is origin, and also the official Donkey Car repository named upstream. So if your repository is outdated, you can fetch the latest code from the upstream by running this. So right now I will run git fetch upstream, and then it will check the new changes from the upstream. I am seeing a lot of new branches from the upstream. After that, I run get status to check which branch I am in. So now I'm in the dev branch, which is great. I want to add something on the dev branch. So before I add something, I do a git merge upstream dev. It means that I want to merge the changes from upstream dev branch. So after I have done this, my repository is in sync with the upstream now. So the next step we want to do is to create a new branch locally. So by running git checkout -b, let's name it called fix something important, right? Okay, this command will help us create a local branch which name fix something important and automatically switch us to that branch. So if you run git status again, it said we are on the branch called fix something important. Okay, so great, we are now in a branch that we can change something. So let's see, what do we want to change? Okay, perhaps we want to change something like readme.markdown and add something new like okay, maybe we want to add something called last updated, maybe which is March 15, sorry, to be 2021 now, and then we save. So, and then we check git status again. It said that we have modified this readme file, but we haven't committed it yet. So let's commit this one by git add readme and commit this with a commit message called like a fix readme demo, for example. Okay, so by running this command, we are committing to our local git repository. So we have changed one file. Okay, and remember, this is we just committed this into our local repository. We want to push it back to our remote repository. So we can check our remote, and we have an upstream here. So we can try to push the commit to our origin, and you can see there's a error message saying that the remote branch do not have the remote upstream do not have this branch. So we need to do this, and then we can send it to our own repository. One point to note is that you should not push the commit directly to the upstream, because if you do it that way, in case you have permission, most likely you do not, you will just write this branch into the upstream, which is the official repository. You do not want to do that. You just want to push this commit back to your own repository and then submit it as a PR. So let's copy this command and press enter. So let's see if this works. Okay, cool. And right now, let's check if the remote repository has the commit that we just pushed. Okay, just a typo. Right. Okay. You can see GitHub told us that fix something important has recently pushed less than 1 minute ago. And then we have this button called compare and pull request. If we click this one, we will see a screen asking us to open a pull request. In this screen, we can give this PR a title. For example, how to create a PR. This is a demo. And then this is the commit message we just wrote. So you can see that the pull request is from my repository in a branch called fix something important to the official repository, and the branch is the dev branch. If we click this create pull request button, then note that the counter is the pull request counter is 13 right now. And if I do this, if I click this button, the counter will go probably to 14. Okay, there it is. You can see that there's a pull request called how to create a PR just created by me, and there's some background jobs that will be executed, and others can see that I have pushed one commit right now, which is 6 minutes ago. And file changes, you can see I added a last update 15 March 2021, and that's it. That is how we push a PR. But that's not the end. Sometimes maintainer will ask you to make some changes to the file you committed. For example, if they don't like the date format and they ask you to change the date format, how do we do that? So it's very easy. Let me show you. So we edit this file again, and let's say we want to change it to this date format, and then we save this file. So when we run git status, you can see that we again modify this file. So we use git add to add this again and commit this into our local git repository. So change date format, the commit messages. So when we run git log locally, we have this change date format and we have a commit ID here. So what we do next is that we push this to the origin, which is our own repository on GitHub. So when we do this, after it is done, we can again check this pull request. You can see it has refreshed it. When I click this button, it shows that we have 2 commits coming in. One is the fixed readme demo, and then the other one is change date format, which we just pushed it. So, and the file changes is updated to this date format, which is great. This is what we want, right? So, and if you check the conversation, you can see that I pushed 2 different commits here, and it is pending for the maintainers to approve it. So when the maintainers check this and think this is all right, they may ask you to squash your commits into one single commit such that they can merge it into the master branch easier. So this is probably the most difficult one, and let me show you how we can squash this. So let's go back to the command prompt and run git log. You can see that actually the change we did starts from this commit. This is the where the upstream development branch points to D5C something, right? And then we add 2 more commits here. So in order to squash these 2, merge these 2 commit into one commit, let's copy this commit ID first, and then we quit. And there's a command called git rebase. So let's see how I did it previously. Okay, so git rebase -i, and then it requires us to give him a git ID. And sorry, I forget the git ID, and then let me look it up again. D5C something. I'll copy it and git rebase -i and this git ID. When I press enter, you can see that Git tell me that there are two commits behind this Git commit ID, which is the two changes I have done. In order to merge this into one single commit, we have to decide which one to squash. So you can see that there are a lot of commands that you can choose from here. I'm only familiar with this squash command. Pick means that we want this commit appear in the Git history. If squash, then we merge it. You can see that melt into the previous commit. So we want the second commit actually melt into the first commit. So that's why we put an S here, meaning that we want to squash this one. After I put an S here, I save and quit the editor. So, and Git asks you, so what do you want the Git commit message look like? It automatically displayed the two commit message here, so we can pick and choose or edit whatever. So I decided that I just want to keep these two message, so I just save and quit. So after we quit the editor, it looks like nothing's changed. So how do we know that it works? So we can use git log again, and you can see that after the commit, which the mask upstream pointing to, we only have one single commit here now, which is what the maintainers want. Okay, which is cool. And so what do we want now is to push this to our origin such that this commit will go back into this pull request. So if we press enter here, it will show an error message saying that because we have previously pushed two commits and it cannot find that two commits, so it has an error here. What we can do is do a force push into the origin repository, and it will override the previous two commit. So when we do this, okay, it's done. And when we refresh this pull request page, you can see that I have force pushed a commit into my repository, into the branch. And there's a commit called 4db something, which consists of a commit message combining the two previous commit. So so you can check it right now. There's only one single commit left here, and the file changes shows that we are using the latest date from it, right? So this is what the maintainer is expecting. They just want one single commit. So this is it. If you have any questions, just leave a comment in this video, or you can also ask in Discord. I hope this is clear. I will see you again.